คุณทักษิณชินวัตรครับได้มีการตั้งชื่อลูกสิงโตขาวว่า The Only ครับโดยมีการกล่าวชื่นชมเจ้าหน้าที่อีกนะครับว่าสามารถนำพาสวนสัตว์ไนท์ซาฟารีเนี่ยก้าวข้ามสถานการณ์วิกฤตอย่างสถานการณ์โควิด -19 ไปได้โดยยังเชื่อมั่นนะครับว่าหลังจากนี้เนี่ยจะมีนักท่องเที่ยวเดินทางมาที่สวนสัตว์ไนท์ซาฟารีอย่างต่อเนื่อง
วันนี้เป็นวันสุดท้ายตามกำหนดการ3 วัน 2 คืนที่จังหวัดเชียงใหม่สำหรับนายทักษิณชินวัตรที่พาครอบครัวลูกๆหลานๆไปดื่มกาแฟไปเที่ยวสวนสัตว์ไนท์ซาฟารีนะคะแล้วก็มีรัฐมนตรีประจำสำนักนายกรัฐมนตรีนางพวงเพชรชุนละเอียดไปต้อนรับด้วยวันนี้ไม่สวมเฟือกอ่อนไม่มีอุปกรณ์ที่พยุงเอวแล้วช่วงหนึ่งก็คือพาหลานๆไปดูนกนานาชนิดนะคะนกกระตั้วนกเขางูเผือกเมียแคทอีกัวน่าด้วยนะคะแล้วก็มีช่วงที่แวะไปชมไปอุ้มลูกสิงโตขาวค่ะโดยนายทักษิณตั้งชื่อให้ด้วยนะคะตั้งชื่อให้ว่า The Only ค่ะให้เหตุผลว่าปกติสิงโตเนี่ยจะออกลูกหลายตัวแต่ว่าแม่สิงโตตัวนี้ออกลูกเพียงตัวเดียวก็ถือว่ามีความพิเศษนะคะ
จะมีใครเอาไปเลี้ยงดูหน้าแมวก็ดูมูทูแต่ดูยังไงก็ไม่เบื่อแค่อยากมีคนที่ข้างกายไม่มีวันจะทำร้ายให้ใครต้องเสียใจก็แค่เด็กเมียวเมียวสักแป๊บเดียวก็เดินมาชอบให้คนเด็กมาหาเป็นพวกแมวเงาใจ宇宙哦那那那从日出天晴到乌云或是电闪雷鸣在我的身旁总是有你拉上窗帘近距离
You realize when a kid is in survival mode, they're not thinking about what occupation would I like when I grow up. They're just thinking, what am I going to do to stay safe? They're not saying, I should take up a couple new hobbies. I should maybe try out a couple things. No, they're just trying to survive. And so their creativity isn't allowed to be explored or developed, so they're limited to just surviving. And then safety is only found in what I'm familiar with, in my known world. So now I have a limitation that I never want to step out of my comfort zone. I never want to step into change or the unknown because I might get hurt. So now what you're basically saying, I'm going to limit myself to never change. As you live in complex trauma, your world that is presented to you by mom and dad and other authority figures is full of distortions and lies. They make you feel that you have no value, that you are not lovable. They make you feel that you're selfish for having needs, and it's your fault that they're unhappy. And you believe that. And so now, instead of seeing life accurately, you have a limitation of seeing life in a distorted way and believing a whole bunch of lies. And then, one of the worst parts of that distortion is your brain is conditioned to jump to the worst case scenario. So something doesn't happen right now, and you were expecting it to happen right now, and your brain goes, why did it not happen right now? And you go, well, and you go to the worst case scenario. And so another limitation in accurate thinking.
When they remember the trauma, they're able to allow the feelings to come and not immediately want to stuff them down or run away from them or medicate them or dissociate from them, because now they can tolerate the feelings. They're still not super comfortable. They still don't like them a whole lot, but they're able to bear with them. And so memories now aren't just this scary thing I have to avoid because it brings up too much feelings. It's I can go to these memories and tolerate the feelings.
There's a part of your brain called the mid-frontal cortex, right in the center of the front of your brain, and its job is what they call flexible response. So let's say that tomorrow you have to get 4 different jobs done. What that part of your brain, the flexible response center, will do is it will play with a whole bunch of different options about how you're going to accomplish those 4 things, okay? Do you know what happens with complex trauma? The brain says, we don't got time to weigh out options. Pick one and go with it. So if you ever dealt with somebody whose trauma gets triggered, They just go in one direction. You can't reason with them. You can't help them think stuff through because their brain goes to tunnel vision, tunnel response, one response only. And that is the result of complex trauma. So one thing that is maybe a good exercise for you to think about is think of the earliest memory that you have, if you can think of it, of knowing there was something that you couldn't talk to your parents about. Now, you might not remember the first time where you had something you couldn't talk to your parents about, but you might remember that growing up, there were certain things you just knew you couldn't talk to your parents about. Do you realize that that thing might have been the first thing that disrupted attachment to your parents? Because now you couldn't connect with them about that. The problem was the thing you wanted to talk about was a very painful thing. So the thing that you needed most to attach to your parents about was the thing you couldn't attach to your parents about, and that creates huge trauma. So the first and the main underlying issue, the very core root issue, is shame. Codependency is two shame-based people trying to have a relationship and trying to solve their shame. So shame is a core belief that comes out of complex trauma. So when a child is neglected or abused or abandoned, they personalize that and they go, I must be neglected because I'm not good enough. It's my fault. And they develop a belief that says, I must not be lovable. I must not be valuable. The only thing that will give me value is not who I am, but what I do. And so if I'm going to get other people to like me, I got to do stuff for them because that will give me value. Then they will appreciate me.